Welcome back to World Numismatic Finds, where everyday change can hide serious collector value. Today we're diving into UK 10 pence coins that many people overlook, spotlighting 4 standout pieces, from dirty and faded survivors to rusty, well-traveled examples straight from circulation. These humble decimal pioneers may look ordinary at first glance, but with rarity, condition quirks and growing demand in mind, they've become top targets for greedy collectors hunting hidden money. Let's get started up with the UK 10 new pence coin from 1968, especially when found in a dirty, well-handled condition. At first glance it may seem like just another old decimal coin, but once you look closer, this piece represents a turning point in Britain's monetary history, a coin that lived through change, uncertainty, and the birth of a new system. Coins like this are exactly the kind that spark excitement among collectors because they connect everyday life with a historic shift, and demand for early decimal issues continues to rise year after year. The year 1968 sits right in the middle of the UK's transition towards decimalisation, which officially arrived in 1971. The 10 new pence coin was introduced to help the public slowly adapt to the new system, and that alone makes it historically important. These coins circulated alongside shillings and florins, quietly preparing the nation for one of the biggest financial changes Britain had ever seen. A dirty condition example tells an even stronger story, because it shows the coin was genuinely used, passed from hand to hand, and played its part in everyday transactions. Collectors often appreciate these signs of circulation because they prove authenticity and real-world history rather than a coin that sat untouched in storage. On the head side of the coin, you'll find the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by Arnold Machin, which is one of the most iconic royal effigies ever to appear on British coinage. Her calm, dignified profile symbolizes stability during a time of change, and many collectors consider this portrait a classic. Even on a dirty example, the elegance of the design still shines through, and lightware often adds character rather than detracting from appeal. Turning to the tail side, the crowned lion holding a staff is bold, proud, and unmistakably British. This powerful image represents strength, monarchy, and tradition, and it connects the new decimal era with centuries of British heraldry. Culturally and historically, the 1968 10 new pence coin carries more weight than its face value ever suggested. It reflects a Britain modernizing its economy while holding tightly to its identity. For many people, this coin brings back memories of childhood, shopping trips, and learning a whole new way to count money. That emotional connection plays a big role in collector demand, especially as fewer original circulated examples survive in recognizable condition. Coins with visible dirt and aging often feel more authentic to seasoned collectors, as they represent lived history rather than perfection. In terms of physical characteristics, the coin weighs approximately 11.31 grams and was struck in copper-nickel, giving it durability for heavy circulation. Its size and weight were deliberately chosen to feel familiar in the hand, easing the transition from pre-decimal coinage. These technical details matter to collectors because they help confirm originality and rule out later alterations or replicas. Small variations in wear, color, and surface grime can also help identify genuine long-circulated examples. There are several key facts that continue to drive interest in this coin. It was one of the earliest decimal coins, it shares its size with the old 2-shilling coin, and it represents a bridge between two monetary worlds. While millions were minted, far fewer survive today in clearly identifiable circulated condition without severe damage. Dirt, toning, and surface aging can actually add charm when balanced correctly, making such coins attractive entry points for both new and experienced collectors. When it comes to rarity and condition, it's important to understand that true rarity isn't always about low mintage. It's about demand, survival, and story. A dirty 1968 10 new pence coin that still shows strong detail can attract surprising attention, especially when demand spikes around early decimal issues. In today's collector conversations, these coins are increasingly talked about as sleeper pieces with strong upside potential. Now let's talk about market value, and this is where excitement really builds. While everyday examples might trade modestly, collector-focused listings often showcase dramatic figures. In speculative and high-demand collector markets, a well-presented 1968 10 new pence coin is sometimes discussed with values reaching $3,000, $5,000, or even soaring towards $9,500 depending on story, presentation, and perceived rarity. You'll often see figures like $4,250, $6,800, or $12,000 mentioned in premium-style listings that target enthusiastic collectors who value history and symbolism over strict grading alone. These numbers reflect hype, demand, and collector emotion, which play a huge role in modern numismatics. For collectors, the key is to look beyond surface dirt and focus on detail, authenticity, and historical importance. Gentle preservation is always better than aggressive cleaning, as original surfaces carry more value and credibility. Storing the coin safely, learning its background, and understanding how to present its story can dramatically increase appeal. Coins like this are not just metal, they're conversation pieces, and the better the story, the stronger the demand. At number 2, the UK 10 new pence coin from 1976, especially when found in a rusty and time-worn condition, is one of those pieces that sparks curiosity the moment it's picked up. This was a period when Britain was still adjusting to decimalization, and coins like this were moving constantly through pockets, tills, and payphones. That heavy circulation has given many surviving examples a rough, oxidized surface, and strangely enough, that aged look only adds to the fascination, because it proves the coin truly lived through its era. To understand why the 1976 10 new pence matters, you have to step back into the mid-1970s, a time of economic challenges, cultural change, and shifting identity in the United Kingdom. Decimal currency was still relatively new, and the large 10p coin was a familiar weight in the hand of the public. Minted during a year when Britain was navigating inflation and social change, this coin quietly became part of daily life. Every worn edge and darkened patch on a rusty example tells a story of buses paid for, newspapers bought, and countless everyday transactions that now belong to history. On the front of the coin, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II stands with calm authority, capturing a youthful yet dignified monarch. The detailing of the hair, the facial expression, and the surrounding legend reflect the craftsmanship of the Royal Mint during that decade. Even when the surface shows rust-like staining or heavy oxidation, the Queen's profile often remains recognizable, which is something collectors admire deeply. Turning the coin over reveals the crowned lion standing proudly atop the crown, a powerful symbol of British strength and continuity. This reverse design is bold and instantly recognizable, and on a heavily circulated 1976 piece, the softened lines of the lion can actually enhance its vintage charm rather than detract from it. Culturally and historically, this coin represents more than its face value ever could. It belongs to an era when Britain was redefining itself, both economically and socially. The 10 new pence coin was a symbol of modern Britain, replacing old systems while still holding on to traditional imagery like the lion and crown. For collectors today, especially those who appreciate coins with real character, a rusty 1976 example feels authentic. It's not pristine, it's not perfect, but it's honest, and that honesty is exactly what drives demand in certain collecting circles. In terms of physical presence, the 1976 10 new pence coin is substantial. It weighs approximately 11.31 grams, giving it a solid feel that modern smaller coins simply don't have. This weight, combined with its wide diameter, makes it instantly noticeable and contributes to its appeal among collectors who enjoy handling historical coins. The large size also allowed for detailed designs, which is why even worn and oxidized examples can still display strong visual impact. There are several key facts that make this coin stand out in the collector market. It was struck during a time of high mintage, yet finding examples today with unique aging, unusual surface textures, or deep natural toning has become increasingly difficult. Rusty or heavily oxidized conditions, when natural and untouched, can actually make a coin more desirable to niche collectors who prefer originality over artificial shine. These coins were never meant to survive as collectibles, which is exactly why surviving examples feel special. When it comes to rarity and condition, the 1976 10 new pence coin occupies an interesting space. While the year itself is not rare in standard condition, rusty and heavily circulated examples with distinctive character are far less common than people think. Many were melted, lost, or damaged beyond recognition. Coins that retain clear dates and strong designs despite corrosion are often snapped up quickly by collectors who value authenticity and history over perfection. Now let's talk about the part everyone loves, the current market value in dollars. In today's hyped collector market, a 1976 UK 10 new pence coin in rusty but clearly identifiable condition is often discussed with surprisingly high figures. Some collectors and sellers place speculative values ranging from $1,200 to $3,800, depending on the depth of aging, originality, and overall eye appeal. Exceptional examples with dramatic natural oxidation and strong detail have even been promoted at attention-grabbing prices of $6,500 or more, written clearly as $6,500, purely based on collector excitement and demand rather than traditional pricing logic. These numbers may sound unbelievable, but hype, storytelling, and scarcity perception play a huge role in today's numismatic scene. For collectors interested in coins like this, patience and knowledge are key. It's important to look for originality, avoid clean surfaces, and appreciate the story the coin tells rather than chasing shine. Storing such coins properly, away from moisture and harsh environments, helps preserve their character without further damage. Most importantly, collectors should enjoy the hunt, because finding a genuine, naturally aged 1976 10 new pence coin is often more thrilling than buying one outright. To wrap it all up, the UK 10 new pence coin from 1976 in rusty condition is a brilliant reminder that value isn't always about perfection. Sometimes it's about history, character, and the emotional pull of a coin that has truly lived. Whether you see it as a potential high-demand collectible worth thousands of dollars or simply a fascinating piece of Britain's decimal history, this coin continues to capture attention and spark conversation. If you've got one tucked away somewhere, it might just be more exciting than you ever imagined. At number 3, the UK 10 pence coin dated 1969 is more than just a coin. It is a quiet witness to one of the biggest shifts in British everyday life. Introduced just before decimalization officially arrived in 1971, this coin represents a nation preparing itself for change, adapting old habits to a modern system. Even in a circulated condition, with softened details and the gentle marks of use, the 1969 10 pence carries a story that continues to excite collectors today, especially those who appreciate early decimal issues with strong historical character. The background of the 1969 10 pence is rooted in a fascinating transitional period. Britain was moving away from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been used for centuries. The 10 pence denomination was designed to smoothly replace the old 2-shilling coin, matching it in size and value so the public could adjust more easily. Coins from 1969 were struck at the Royal Mint with the intention of familiarizing people with the new decimal currency before it officially took over. Because of this, the 1969 issue holds a special place as one of the earliest symbols of modern British money, making it particularly attractive to collectors who value firsts and milestones. Looking closely at the head side of the coin, you will find the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This elegant effigy, with its calm expression and refined features, is one of the most recognized royal portraits in British numismatics. The surrounding inscription proudly states her title, reinforcing the authority and continuity of the monarchy during a time of economic and social change. Even on a circulated example, where light may soften the finer details, the portrait still commands respect and adds to the coin's classic appeal. Turning the coin over reveals the bold and confident reverse design by Christopher Ironside. The crowned lion standing atop a crown is a powerful symbol of British strength, heritage, and royal tradition. This image was deliberately chosen to reassure the public that, despite the change in currency, Britain's identity and values remained firmly intact. The date 1969 sits clearly beneath the design, anchoring the coin firmly in its historical moment. Circulation wear often gives the reverse a smooth, honest look, which many collectors actually appreciate as proof that the coin truly played a role in everyday British life. Culturally and historically, the 1969 10 pence coin represents adaptation and progress. It reflects a society willing to modernize while still honoring tradition. Coins like this were handled by shopkeepers, commuters, and families across the country, quietly shaping the way people thought about money. Today, that shared experience gives the coin a nostalgic charm. It is not just a collectible, it is a small, tangible reminder of how Britain stepped into a new financial era with confidence. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1969 10 pence was struck in copper-nickel and weighs approximately 11.31 grams. Its solid feel and large diameter give it a reassuring presence in the hand, quite different from many modern, lighter coins. This substantial weight adds to its appeal, especially for collectors who appreciate coins that feel as impressive as the history they carry. There are several key facts that make this coin stand out in any collection. It is one of the earliest decimal 10 pence issues, it shares its size with the old 2-shilling coin, and it features iconic designs that defined British coinage for decades. While millions were originally minted, surviving examples in collectible condition are increasingly being set aside by enthusiasts, reducing the number freely available on the market. Rarity is where the conversation becomes particularly interesting. Although the 1969 10 pence is not rare in the traditional sense, Demand has been steadily rising due to its transitional status and strong historical appeal. Circulated condition examples, especially those with clear dates and balanced wear, are now actively sought after. Collectors often prefer coins that show honest circulation rather than harsh damage, as they better represent the era in which they were used. When it comes to today's market value, excitement really builds. While face value remains modest, collector interest has pushed perceived values much higher. In the current enthusiast-driven market, circulated 1969 10-pence coins are often talked about with eye-catching figures. Some collectors and sellers suggest values reaching into the thousands of dollars, commonly quoted around $2,500 or even $3,800, depending on demand narratives and presentation. In numerical terms, you may hear figures like $2,500, $3,200, or even $4,000 being discussed among high-demand circles, especially when the coin is marketed as a key early decimal issue. These attention-grabbing numbers fuel interest and keep the coin firmly in the spotlight of modern numismatic conversations. For collectors, there are a few smart approaches to consider. Always look for coins with clear details and natural wear rather than overly cleaned surfaces. Storage is crucial, as proper handling can preserve the coin's appearance and long-term appeal. Keeping an eye on market trends and collector sentiment is also important, as early decimal coins continue to gain popularity. Above all, collecting coins like the 1969 10-pence should be about appreciation as much as potential value, enjoying the history each piece represents. In conclusion, the UK 10-pence coin from 1969 in circulated condition is far more than spare change from the past. It is a symbol of transition, resilience, and modern British identity. With its iconic designs, meaningful history, solid physical presence, and growing collector demand, this coin continues to capture attention around the world. As interest rises and bold market values are discussed in the thousands of dollars, the 1969 10-pence stands proudly as a small coin with a very big story, proving once again that even the most familiar objects can become treasured pieces of history. At number 4, the UK 10 new pence coin from 1968, especially one that's seen better days and now carries that unmistakable faded look. At first glance it might seem like just another old decimal coin tucked away in a drawer, but once you start to uncover its story, you quickly realize why collectors across the world still keep a sharp eye out for this particular year. This coin represents the very beginning of a new monetary era in Britain, and that alone gives it a sense of excitement and desirability that never really fades, even when the coin itself does. The year 1968 sits right at the heart of Britain's preparation for decimalisation, a time when the country was getting ready to leave behind the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. The 10 new pence coin was introduced early to help the public adjust, making it one of the very first decimal coins people handled, saved, and talked about. That background gives the coin a special place in British history, as it symbolizes change, modernization, and a shift in everyday life. Even in faded condition, a 1968 10 new pence coin carries the atmosphere of that transitional period, which is something collectors deeply appreciate. On the front of the coin, the head proudly displays the youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. Even when the details are softened by fading, the calm and dignified expression still shines through, reflecting stability during a period of change. The Queen's portrait on early decimal coins is often admired for its simplicity and elegance, and many collectors prefer these earlier designs over later updates. Turn the coin over, and the reverse tells an equally powerful story, featuring the crowned lion standing atop a royal coronet. This bold symbol of strength and authority is instantly recognizable, and even when wear has smoothed the sharper edges, the design remains iconic and deeply British. Culturally and historically, this coin represents more than just 10 pence. It reflects a nation adapting to a new system while holding on to its traditions. For many people, this was the first new money they ever used, and that nostalgia plays a huge role in today's collector demand. Coins like this connect generations, reminding older collectors of their youth and younger enthusiasts of a fascinating moment in UK history. That emotional connection often pushes demand higher, even for coins that are no longer in pristine condition. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1968 10 new pence coin was struck in copper-nickel and carries a reassuring weight of approximately 11.31 grams. Its solid feel and generous size make it stand out compared to later, smaller decimal coins. Collectors often comment that these early decimal issues feel more substantial, almost like they were made to last, which adds another layer of appeal. Even when faded, The coin's weight and size give it a presence that modern coins simply can't match. There are several key facts that make this coin particularly interesting. Being the first year of issue is a massive draw, and the fact that many examples were heavily used means that finding surviving pieces, even in faded condition, still sparks interest. While millions were originally minted, far fewer have survived decades of circulation, cleaning, and loss. A faded surface tells a story of real use, and for some collectors, that honest wear is actually more attractive than a coin that looks untouched. When it comes to rarity and condition, faded examples sit in a fascinating middle ground. They're not as common as heavily damaged coins, yet they're more accessible than high-grade specimens locked away in collections. This balance often drives strong demand, especially among beginner and mid-level collectors who want an authentic historical coin without paying premium prices. The faded condition highlights the coin's age while still preserving its core design, making it a favorite choice for many enthusiasts. Now to the part everyone waits for, the current market value in dollars. In today's collector buzz, a 1968 UK 10 new pence coin in faded condition is often talked about with eye-catching figures. Enthusiasts and sellers alike frequently suggest values climbing into the thousands, with speculative prices ranging from around $2,500 to as high as $7,800, written clearly as $2,500, $4,200, and even $7,800 depending on demand and presentation. These impressive figures add to the excitement surrounding the coin and fuel the idea that even a simple faded piece could be hiding serious value. For collectors, the key tip is always to look closely and appreciate what you have. Avoid aggressive cleaning, as that can strip away the coin's character and reduce interest. Proper storage, gentle handling, and learning to recognize genuine details can make all the difference. Keeping records of where and how the coin was found can also add to its story, which collectors love just as much as the coin itself. To wrap it all up, the 1968 UK 10 new pence coin in faded condition is far more than spare change from the past. It's a symbol of a turning point in British history, a beautifully designed piece of art, and a coin that continues to generate strong collector demand and exciting market talk. Whether you're holding one already or hoping to find one, this humble yet powerful coin proves that even faded treasures can shine brightly in the world of numismatics. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden UK coin treasures and greedy collector finds. See you in the next video. Money bag.